Assalamu alaikum.
How are you, Faizan?
I'm good, sir. Thank you.
Today, now you introduce yourself to all of us.
So my name is Syed Faizan Haider. I was born in Rawalpindi. Soon after my birth, I along with my family moved to Rahimyar Khan, from where I got my initial education till class 4. Then on I moved to Karachi, from where I completed my education till my A-levels. And then I moved to Lahore, from where I got my undergraduate degree in accounting and finance from LUMS. Currently, I'm living in Islamabad. I've moved here. So I've lived in multiple cities all my life. Apart from this, sir, throughout my academic and professional journey, I've shown 3 consistent traits. One is my ambition. The second is my ability, consistency in achieving those ambitions. And third is my ability and desire to learn diverse set of skills and knowledge. These 3 traits have essentially allowed me to get internships at some of the top multinationals, represent Pakistan in debating and excel at sports as well. And after that, I realized that my destiny lies in CSS, and therefore I gave the exam, and today I have the pleasure of sitting with you people.
Okay, thank you. So I hope you have prepared yourself for the interview.
Yes, sir. I've tried my best.
What do you expect that what type of question you will be asked?
Sir, so the general...
You just name the topics which you have prepared that you anticipate that these questions could be.
Sir, I feel that they'd ask me about my optionals, because accounting and business are non-conventional optional subjects. I feel that they will ask me about that. Current affairs, I feel I will be asked about, particularly with regards to what's happening in USA, because I have US history as an optional. And I feel some questions regarding my operational efficiency when it comes to my preferences. I feel that these are the questions which will primarily be asked.
ये तो 3 questions हैं यार.
Sir,
only 3 topics.
Within these, I feel that there are multiple dimensional dimensions.
Chale, you are multi-dimensional.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, I think you were born in the last century, in the 20th century.
Yes.
What are the major events of the last century which you remember?
Sir, the 2 world wars, I feel that they defined a lot of things. And then during the last century, I feel that the rise of Islamic militancy, which culminated in 2001 9/11 attacks, I feel that these 2 I would primarily consider.
How many years are in a century?
100.
So you start from 1901,
yeah,
and you conclude 2000.
2000.
It's a huge time. तो कुछ और नहीं याद आता?
Sir, formation of Pakistan obviously is an important event as well. But the events I pointed out were more in a global context, how they have impacted the world order as it is right now. I feel that those are the 2, the world war.
What are your views about this Brexit? Do you think it is good for European Union or bad?
So for the European Union, I feel that they have got a good deal. The deal that they've got right now, they're happy with it. I feel that the problem will be for the United Kingdom. In fact, European Union will survive regardless. The problems will be with the United Kingdom, I feel.
How?
So because now they have taken a step which...
The nation which has ruled the world for whole of the centuries.
Yes. Sir, I feel that exactly that is the reason.
Do you think they have not thought about all these things?
So when populist rhetoric takes precedence over
they had
politics,
plenty of time after a referendum. They have been thinking for 2 long years.
Sir, I feel that once the populist rhetoric sets in, it is very difficult to roll it back. And I feel that decisions made under the pretext of that populist rhetoric are oftentimes, as we have seen in Pakistan, are oftentimes counterproductive. And I feel that now they have essentially this country which has ruled over the world over centuries has taken a step which is irreversible in nature, and the consequences of which obviously we will see in the future, but I feel that they will be.
What are their arguments, positive arguments, what they think, what they have gained?
So they feel that the United Kingdom is now going to be a much more uniform country, in a sense that now they will not have the European immigrants coming in. They will be, that is the first. The second is that they feel that they will be more independent in their decision making in terms of their trade laws, in terms of who they want to trade with, who they want to give you know, immigration status to, and all of those things.
Now they have got the whole world, the whole American continent, Australia, Canada. They will have independent relations, because here in the European Union they were stuck up because of the European Union.
Sir, I do not feel, yeah, exactly, that independence they will have. That is the argument that they give. And third argument which they give is that the less fortunate in the United Kingdom, or the people who are hardworking people, you know, who you call the working class, they will now be economically advantaged because of the immigrants not coming in. I feel these are the three primary arguments that they give.
What is the definition of crime?
So crime is an act or omission which is contrary to the laws which have been stated, and when a moral value is codified in the constitution or in a law and then it is broken, it becomes a crime.
How do you see the future of democracy in Pakistan?
Sir, I feel that the future of democracy is bright. I feel that we are living in times where any other option other than democracy will be very hard to justify and to implement.
You say that it will be good, but on what ground you are saying?
So I'm saying that because we are no longer living in the 1900s. We have a free media. We have an educated civil society, a civil society which is willing to stand up on certain principles, not all principles, but still certain principles they're willing to stand up on. And the third, I feel that now, after 3 consecutive transitions of power, the people have had a taste of political participation. Particularly over the last 10 years, the political participation has increased. And so now people are no longer ignorant about how their country is being run or who's running them, who's running the country.
How do you assess the performance of this government for the last 2.5 years?
Sir, I feel that this government has the benchmark that it set for itself has not been met. Undoubtedly, it has not been met. But despite that, there are positives to look into as well. Our problems are structural. So you cannot expect one government to come in and make sweeping reforms. The structure needs to be corrected, and I feel that we are on the path of making those structural adjustments.
Can you tell me what are the implications of COVID-19 on our society? Not economic side, social side. Social side.
Sir, first, I feel that what I've noticed in my personal capacity is now the sense of family, which was slowly deteriorating, has again sort of come up, because children who were excessively, you know, going to schools, colleges, universities, jobs, they've got time to spend with their families. And in my personal capacity, I've seen that that is a positive thing which has happened. The other thing, sir, I feel that the concept of self-sufficiency has come into our society, in which we have decided to take matters into our own hand when it comes to education. We are now more self-reliant in terms of we have gone towards online education. Our systems have gone online. A third thing, sir, a social transition which has taken place because of COVID is now we have realized how important healthcare is for the country, how important sustainable healthcare and disaster management is for the country, and I feel that is a very good thing. The fourth thing which I feel is very important is that we have, in a disaster situation, we have implemented this hybrid model in which we had the political leadership and operational capacity of other institutions, and this has proven to be very successful. And so now we have a model on how we can deal with future problems if they arise anytime.
Thank you.
Why there is upsurge in violence in Afghanistan?
Sir, yes.
Recent upsurge.
So we have seen that the Taliban operate under the model which is fight and negotiate. This was a model which was initially started by the United States of America, but the Taliban have actually implemented it over the last few decades, where they fight and they negotiate, they fight and they negotiate, they do it all the time, and they do these things simultaneously. Taliban, in an attempt to strengthen their position on the negotiation front, are sort of engaging in violence. This is the first factor. The second factor is that there is also space which is being exploited by other non-state actors, which include IS and certain other factions.
Section 6 of the Constitution was amended in the 18th Amendment. What amendment was that, or is that?
Sir, I cannot recall what amendment was made in the Section 6 of the Constitution.
You know what is Section 6?
No, I am not aware.
Of the Constitution. Very important, you should know about it.
I will read upon it, sir.
How will you evaluate the working of our bureaucratic machinery?
Sir, I feel that our bureaucratic machinery has been problematic in a lot of ways. Where it has had its positives, I feel that it is important to outline the negatives at this point in time, because the negatives have been very far-reaching in terms of their impacts. These negatives, I feel, include that this machinery is outdated in terms of we have not really tried to improve up on the bureaucratic machinery which we inherited after partition. That is the first thing. The second thing, I feel that there is an excessive divide between the bureaucratic machinery and the population. I feel that this divide needs to be bridged so that bureaucrats are not thought of as the rulers. In fact, they're thought of in reality as civil servants. I feel that is a second thing about bureaucratic machinery. I feel the third thing, we are still living in the times of paper and files, where the world has moved on to information technology, e-governance, and we have seen some institutions move on to that model. We have NADRA and we have these sort of institutions who have inculcated information technology in their operations. I feel if the bureaucratic machinery as a whole improves on this, we can go a long way.
Prime Minister Inspection Committee on Administrative Reforms has put up quite a number of proposals to the Prime Minister for improving the working of bureaucratic machinery. Can you tell us about those proposals, about a few of them?
Sir, so from what I had read up on and from what I remember, the first one was some reforms regarding recruitment, in which it was argued that people who select groups in which they want to go into should give the exams of the optional subjects with regards to the group they want to go in. So if someone wants to go into the police service, they should have criminology. If someone wants to go into foreign service, they must have international relations. That is one of the reforms. The other was, I think they also argued about security of tenure, which is a controversial topic, and there was no conclusion, I feel, which was reached regarding this. The third, and I think Mr. Ishrat Hussain argues vehemently about it, is increasing the sort of financial compensation and bring it to market level at least for the bureaucrats. I feel that these are three of the reforms which I remember from the many which were given.
One of your weaknesses you have mentioned is overthinking. Yes. What do you mean by this, overthinking?
Sir, I feel that in routine tasks, I tend to think if I can do this in this manner or I can do it in this manner. So I take my time to assess which option or which path I should take. I feel that oftentimes in ways can be disadvantageous.
Okay, you can write some appropriate word. Overthinking doesn't carry any sense.
Right.
If it had, I would not have asked you this question. Parliamentary Committee on Accountability. What is its role and how it functions?
So the Parliamentary Committee on Accountability, I'm not exactly sure of it, if you'd allow me to guess, is headed by the leader of the opposition in the National Assembly, and its role is to assess which government projects, which federal projects, whichever are being implemented, are they adhering to principles of financial righteousness, if you could say that. So they hold federal legislature accountable to any expenses they are taking up and those things. But
how they do it? What is the modus operandi?
That I'm not exactly sure of, sir.
Foreign service is your second choice.
Yes, sir.
What is diplomatic immunity?
So diplomatic immunity is given to, is a concept in which foreign diplomats, foreign embassies, they have an immunity in a sense that they're not treated under the same laws as the host country. So a diplomat is immune to a lot of the laws which are applicable on these things. In fact, the United States of America argued for Raymond Davis under this pretext of diplomatic immunity. They felt that he's, in fact, he was not a diplomat, but they argued the case on those basis that he should be given diplomatic immunity.
But was he tried there in America on the charges on the?
I do not think he was charged in America. I'm not sure.
But he's supposed to. He is not. You see, action will be taken against him, not in the host country, but in the country of his origin, where he can be taken to task legally, administratively.
Sir, so from what I got from Steve Cole's book, he wrote The Directorate S and how the CIA and ISI fight wars in Afghanistan. In that book, he mentioned that the American government on behalf of Raymond Davis paid blood money to the victims here. And I feel that if that blood money was paid, Pakistan did not agree that he has diplomatic immunity because in effect he was not a diplomat. He was not in the list of diplomats the American had given to the foreign ministry. And so compensation, blood money was paid according to Pakistani law, and then he was allowed to leave. So I feel that that means that he cannot be tried in the United States of America because he has been punished here.
Right.
Faizan, you have opted for foreign service as your second option. What do you think are the major challenges of Pakistan's foreign policy?
Ma'am, the first challenge I feel, which is primary, is that decade in, decade out, we change our direction. One decade we are going in one direction and another decade we go in another direction. There is no consistency in direction. I feel whichever direction we take, if we stick to it, we will do good. But every government coming in and changing direction, I feel that that is a foreign policy issue in Pakistan. Similarly, that is the first one. The second one I feel that is more operational is how do we balance our ties in the Middle East, because Middle East is important for us. Iran is a neighbor, Saudi Arabia is a friendly country. How do we balance between them? And the third issue, which I feel will be of immense importance in the future, is now that we have bet on the Chinese investment due to CPEC, and we see that a sort of a collision is inevitable between the United States of America and the Chinese because the China is a rising power. How will we balance between that? I feel that these three are the primary challenges.
Would you kindly elaborate what you mean by saying that we keep on changing direction? Can you elucidate with the example?
Right. One government is very friendly with the Saudis. Then there comes another government which is excessively friendly towards the opposite bloc in the Middle East, which is the Turkish and the Iranians. So that is a contradiction. And I understand that a government should have the right to formulate its foreign relations, but there should be some strategic consistency which should be there. Similarly, sometimes we are very friendly with the United States of America, and I understand that that is a transactional relationship. I understand that. But then sometimes we are excessively friendly to the Chinese. We do not maintain a balance. We do not maintain a consistency in who we want to be friends with and who we do not want to be so good of friends with.
So from this emanate two questions. Firstly, is there any distinction between rhetoric and policy?
Definitely, ma'am. Definitely, there is a difference between rhetoric and policy. But a lot of times we let rhetoric take precedence over what should be strategically beneficial. In fact, when you ask me of this, I think there were times when the Pakistani president was slapping around, you know, in a fun gesture, the US president. And then very soon after that, within a decade, we were organizing this Islamic meeting in Pakistan. So this is this is extremes. So even if we want to go to an extreme, we should stick to that extreme, I feel.
And the second question because as I said, two questions emanate. One question I've already asked. The second question is, do you think that international system is static?
No, it's constantly changing.
So?
But having said that, ma'am, why should we be reactive to the static, to the changing world model? We should be proactive. We should align ourselves. And in fact, once we align ourselves, we should be the ones changing the static nature, not the ones reacting to the changes happening around.
Interesting. Now tell me, you have done environmental studies. What are the major environmental issues for Pakistan?
Ma'am, the first and foremost, Pakistan is the fifth most prone country to environmental damage, despite the fact that we do not contribute that much to environmental degradation globally. That is the first thing, that we are one of the most prone. I think the second thing is how rising sea levels will affect Pakistani cities, urban cities, Karachi, Hyderabad. These cities they do not have the infrastructure or the ability to be able to sustain a rising sea level if it continues to rise at the rate at which it is rising. That is the other reason. And third, I feel, which I personally felt, change in 4 years of my time in Lahore. When I went to Lahore, there was no concept of smog at that time, but by the time I was graduating from my university in 4 years, the smog was such that it was difficult to breathe in, and I haven't been to Lahore in a recent time, but I've heard that it's got even worse. Lahore is one of the most, the worst in terms of breathing air. So that is a third reason, but it is also an urban city. The fourth, I think, would be unplanned urbanization in Pakistan. This is something which is related to environment, and we must address this issue as well. With the rising middle class, urbanization is going to take place, but we must make sure that we plan it properly.
In COP24, they spoke of blue economies. Do you have any idea about that?
Ma'am, I'm unsure of it. If you'd allow me to guess, it is related to making seas sustainable. It is related to something related to the activities which take place within the oceans and the seas, but I'm not very sure of this.
Thank you very much, Faizan.
Arslan, what were the three main features of Minto-Morley reform 1909?
Sir, I have read this, but I cannot recall it at this point.
What is a Massory compromise?
Sir, this was a compromise in which it was stated that beyond, there was 4360 was the line, I think, I do not remember exactly, but beyond which slavery is not going to be extended. And then Missouri was to be admitted to the United States of America as a slave state, and Maine was to be admitted into the United States of America as a free state. So this was basically a compromise between anti-slavery and pro-slavery people in the United States of America.
And what was 3rd June plan?
So the 3rd June plan, I'm unsure of it. I do not.
My last question is, what was the impact of American War of Independence and French Revolution?
Sir, I think American Revolution in some ways inspired the French Revolution.
Oh.
So because the Americans here had overthrown a colonial power, which was the United Kingdom, and it inspired the French people also to rise up against monarchy. And Americans had not just fought the colonial power, they have fought for democracy, they had fought for self-rule. And so the people in France, I feel, were also inspired by this fact that we should have a self-rule.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Faizan, the only thing I can tell you that you keep it up. MashaAllah, you are intelligent, you are articulate, your communication skills are very good, you are quite confident. But keep it up.
Thank you, sir.
Because you are competing with the best of the best. Punjab is very tough competition. Punjab mein jo hai na, there are people like you, not many people like you. So you have to keep in view that you will maintain objectivity, be analytical, and what you are thinking, express it if you get an opportunity. ठीक है ना? तो from today I think you are very good. लेकिन आप इसको maintain करो. कब है interview तो?
Sir, 20th.
चलो you have got 10 days. ना भी literature review कर सकते हो ना, आज कर लो. ये 10 दिन फिर नहीं आने. ठीक है? तो you are very good. आप बता.
जो है ना section 6 देख लेना जाके. ठीक है? उसमें देख लेना जाके. और दूसरा ये जब जाएंगे इंटरव्यू के लिए आप तो सॉक्स आपकी वो होनी चाहिए, ब्लैक होनी चाहिए या ब्लू नॉर्मली, इसके साथ ब्लैक होनी चाहिए. ये जो है सॉक्स मेरा अवॉइड करेंगे तो अच्छा होगा. बाकी ठीक है.
सर एक क्वेश्चन मैं आपसे, आपने सेक्शन 6, मेरा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल जो है ना, मैं वीक हूँ, मैंने मेरी क्योंकि लॉ
कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से वो सेक्शन 6 इसलिए इम्पोर्टेंट है कि उसमें फर्दर मिलिट्री इंटरवेंशन की या एक्स्ट्रा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल इंटरवेंशन की रोड को ब्लॉक कर दिया गया है. ठीक है? पहले तो होता था ये हो जाता था, कोई आ गया और फिर वो अदालत में चले गए, अदालत उसको वैलिडेट कर देती थी. Now even the court can't do it. अगर कोर्ट ये करेगी तो that will also amount to treason. तो इस तरह से that way it is very important.
Faizan, you are very capable, mashallah, but there is a knowledge gap. Fill it up, beta, because you have very little time. I didn't ask you the question. I wanted to for a teaser. That do you know the difference? I mean, why are diplomats given diplomatic immunity?
I'm unsure of it, ma'am.
Basically because they are representatives of the sovereign.
Yes.
And a sovereign cannot be subject to the laws of another sovereign state. Yes. And that's why they are immune.
Right.
So it's not कि वो कोई खास उस तरह से है, बल्कि it is mandatory upon them, because if I, for example, am posted to USA and I succumb to those laws, then I'm not representing the sovereign state of Pakistan with this flag. Then I'm subject of that state, and I'm not, so I would not. Okay, so that's why diplomatic immunities and privileges, और ये Vienna Convention हुई थी 1961 में, do remember that, ठीक है? 1961 डिप्लोमेटिक इम्यूनिटीज़ पे थी वियना कन्वेंशन, और फिर दोबारा वियना कन्वेंशन हुई थी 1964 में, which was on consular immunities. And consular immunities are different from diplomatic immunities. And the reason is that a diplomat is a representative of the sovereign, but the consular is supposed to give services. He is not representative of the sovereign. He is part of the team that gives services. Therefore, they do not enjoy the same immunities as a diplomat would. In Pakistan, we have the same foreign service in which you can be posted as Consul General, you can be posted as Ambassador. So as Ambassador, your immunities will be different. As Consul General, it will be different. In other countries, the Consular Corps is very different from the Diplomatic Corps. They have two streams of services. So just to educate you on that for your interview.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.